young singer named Justin Moore.
We don't do a whole lot of bullshitting up here. We just get up here and play country music.
The Justin Moore podcast is sponsored by Bobcat. Visit them at bobcat.com.
Check, 1 2 1 2. I guess that just covers all the ground while you say check 1 2. I guess that covers all the phonetic nuances of when you get sounds out, I guess. Because you could just say, hey, hey, hey.
Yeah, wonder why that did become a thing. That's a good question, actually. I've never thought about it, never questioned it. That's just what everybody always does.
Because you could say red, yellow, blue.
Yeah,
but
or
check
or
1 2.
Fart, or
yeah.
Rainbow, or
right.
Pile Driver, or
right.
I mean, you can say anything.
we ought to come up with some new ones next time. We'll tell Roger if you use check 1 2 or any of the guys on stage for sound check. If y'all use
We're docking your
check 1 2,
pay.
Yeah, you got to do something creative. Anyway, hey guys, welcome back to this week's installment of the Justin Moore podcast. This is season 4, episode 4 of this said podcast. I'm JR the Handler, your friendly co-host, and with me today is the master of ceremonies himself, Arkansas's own Justin Moore. What's up, JM?
Man, struggle bus today, buddy. Struggle bus. I'm had a long day yesterday. We'll get into why it was a long day, and then a long day today. I'll get into that after we have our guests on. But yeah, struggling, and so you're gonna have to. You may have to do the heavy lifting here in the early going.
Oh, yeah.
So why don't you tell folks, we got a guest today, as I just mentioned. I'll let JR fill you in on who and what and how and all that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've got, man, I've talked about this a few times. If you hadn't heard of them, you should, because I'm telling you, they're absolutely fantastic. I don't call shots often, but this one, man, this would be a travesty to country music if these guys don't hit big. But they're from my neck of the woods down in Mobile, Alabama. They go by Muscadine Bloodline. Gary and Charlie, we're going to have them on in a little while. They got a new record out, Dispatch to 16th Avenue, that is just my brand of country. I just love it. You know,
yeah, I can't wait to
country, old school, whatever you want to call it. It's just right up my alley. You know, as we say. You know. So anyway.
I can't wait to sit down and listen to it throughout, you know.
Yeah.
You've shared a couple of things with me, but looking forward to sitting down with it. I don't have time to do anything. I don't have time to record my own music. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to
I know you were slammed yesterday, and see, I just got lucky. I drove back because, you know, we had everybody that got to come Saturday. We got to play at SeaWorld in Orlando, which we thought we were going to sunny Florida, but it was actually cold and drizzly Florida, but it was fine. It was a good crowd. We had a good time, but I stayed because I went to Tampa and visited with my brother for an extra day. Then I drove home yesterday, so after I listened to 6.5 hours of podcast, I said, oh, I forgot that the whole record's out now. Let me listen to that. So I got to listen to it all the way through. About had me teared up before I got home, but that's how I slipped it in. Just I had a long drive yesterday, you know, 8 hours back from Tampa. But it sounds like you were on the roads ripping and running about that long yesterday. I know you called me last night. We're like, brother, I have had a doozy of a day.
Had a day, and then another one planned today. I'm actually – after we get done with this today, I did the radio show this morning. In Little Rock, which is for those out there who may be new to this podcast. It's about 50 minutes from me, and so did that, came home, jumped right on with you, and then I'm actually going to be on a Tom Petty tribute album, which is super cool to be asked to do. I'm a huge Tom Petty fan, as are I'm sure most of you guys, if not all. And so I'm getting to do a tune on that. I'm recording that today, the vocal. We already recorded the track. But as far as yesterday goes, got up, did the radio show from home, so 6 to 9. Then drove to Little Rock, and Cody and his crew were there, and we shot 3 commercials yesterday. So
yeah, that's what you were saying. And
so,
I want to mention before we go talking about the radio show, I want to say shout out and thanks to our brother David Basil for coming on last week. Great convo, had some great feedback from social media about how much they enjoyed that. So appreciate Basil. So you and the whole crew on these commercials yesterday?
Me, Basil, Roger Scott and R.J. Hawk, the other two guys on the show. But, yeah, before we do move on to your point about Basil, we actually have a way for people to text in to us during the show live, and they actually read one yesterday, maybe? I think it was yesterday that said how much they enjoyed that podcast. So it's cool that some of our listeners are listening to both this and the show. So
Right.
so that was neat to see and hear. But yeah, we shot 3 commercials that will, I don't know if they'll be running locally here on TV or not, but they'll definitely be out on social media. They're obviously hilarious and funny, and had a good time doing that. But that was from about 11 to 3 yesterday after doing the show from 6 to 9. And then as soon as I got home, had to go to the gym and had 2 ball games last night, which thankfully we won both.
Nice.
And Ken, her team, secured the number 1 seed in the tournament, and the first time they've ever won the conference championship. So that's pretty cool, pretty exciting. And they've gone undefeated outside of one practice game this year that we had with a 6A school. And we're 2A for those out there listening.
Yeah.
So really happy about that and proud for them. And 6th grade girls won again, obviously handedly. But yeah, man, it's and then got home and shut it down about 11 last night. So yeah, let's see, that'd be about a 16, 17 hour day, and then today will be about a 13, 14 hour day, and then hopefully tomorrow I can finally chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, but just running behind to get to here. But
Right.
happy to be here and happy to have Muscadine Bloodline come on with us. Really appreciate them doing that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mentioned earlier we got to go to Orlando and play our first show of the year this year. It was a good time, good to see the whole gang. Everybody's got a good energy kicking off this year. I think momentum from, turning the curve on all this stuff is starting to happen. So looking forward to that. I know coming up soon we've got Jackson, Mississippi at the rodeo on the 16th of this month. Then we're going to be at Billy Bob's on the 25th of February. So y'all make sure to check out, go get some tickets. Y'all come see us at some of these shows. Then in March, we're going to be out in Tucson on the 12th and Prescott Valley on the 13th. And then we've got the show with George Strait, the King, on the 18th back in your home city of Little Rock. So y'all go to justinmooremusic.com, check out all those tour dates, merchandise, all that fun stuff. I know I mentioned, and I got some mail back about the podcast tees not being on there. They're working on that right now. They should be on the site here in the next week or so. So they're working on that. But go check it out. See all the new dates that are popping up, because I know every week or so we've got new tour dates that are coming up. And like Justin said, he's got new music he's working on for the tribute album and all kinds of fun stuff. And we moved the vinyl greatest hits release back to March 18th or 19th as well. So y'all,
and that's due to production issues, byproduct of COVID.
Stuff.
So
Right.
I mean, we have everything ready on our end, but we have to outsource those things where they actually print them and make them and
Right.
whatever they do, and this is exclusive to Walmart, so
Yep.
I'm sure they're
go
feeling
ahead.
some effects maybe too.
Oh, don't you know it? So, yeah, go ahead and pre-order that. But you can go to justinmooremusic.com and check on all that stuff. Well, guys, let's see if we can get the Muscadine Bloodline boys. I got Chuck Diesel dialing in now. Let's see if we can make this happen.
Have you ever passed a construction site where those tough-looking orange and white machines are working? Skid steer loaders, excavators, that's Bobcat. And that's our sponsor for today's episode. Now, if you think of Bobcat as construction equipment only, you should take a look over at Bobcat.com. Bobcat makes mowers, compact tractors, utility vehicles, all kinds of equipment you can use on your personal property. When you have a Bobcat machine in your shed, you'll look forward to that list of projects on the weekend. Go to Bobcat.com, visit your local dealer, and see what I mean. Hey, what's up, guys? Justin Moore here. I want to remind everyone out there listening that my wife, Kate, has an awesome children's clothing boutique in downtown Benton, Arkansas at Central Arkansas. So if you're local, come see us at 119 West South Street in downtown historic Benton, Arkansas. Again, that's 119 West South Street in Benton, Arkansas. And if you're not local, we ship everywhere. So you can find us at shopthislittlepiggy.com and see all that we have to offer, all that my wife Kate has to offer, I should say. Facebook, you can find us at shopthislittlepiggyAR. And Instagram, you can find us at shopthislittlepiggyAR. But check us out. It's called This Little Piggy. And see what we got to offer. ShopThisLittlePiggy.com.
Hi, y'all. This is Brandon Bing, singer-songwriter and whiskey maker. You're tuning in to the Justin Moore Podcast. Visit EasyLiquor.com to grab your bottle of Bangtail Whiskey and join the Blue Collar Swaller family today. Follow us on all socials at Bangtail Whiskey for more news and updates. Now pour Jigger and take this 8-second ride with us.
Hey, gang. As y'all have heard, the Justin Moore Podcast has recently teamed up with Wrangler. Wrangler has been an icon in authentic American style around the world for more than 70 years. With a rich legacy rooted in the American West, Wrangler commits to offering unmatched quality and timeless design. As y'all have heard me and Justin talk about on here, George Strait and Alan Jackson, they're Wranglers. We wear Wranglers too. Its collections are also for men and women, children, to look and feel great, inspiring those who wear them to be strong and ready for life every day. Wrangler is available in retail stores worldwide, including brand flagship stores in Denver and Dallas, department stores, mass market retailers, specialty shops, Western outfitters, and online. For more information, visit Wrangler.com. And you know you've heard it here, and you've seen it on stage, the Justin Moore Podcast. Dang glad to be partnered up with Wrangler because we're big fans and have been for a long, long time. Can't go wrong with a nice pair of Wranglers, y'all. I wear the Wrangler Retro. Justin wears the black one some. It's my go-to. I get mine at Academy. So if you're around an Academy or just about anywhere, you can get you a pair of Wranglers, whether you want to look like George Strait, or you want to look like JM, or you want to look like me. You can get you some Wranglers, and you can do that. Whether you're in North California or South Alabama or Montana, Texas, Ohio, Wyoming, wherever, a pair of Wranglers will get the job done. Long live cowboys and plowboys. For more information, visit Wrangler.com.
What's up, boys?
Hey, fellas, what's going on?
Look at y'all. Y'all look super official, man.
Well, we just look it. That's it.
Yeah, and it did not start out this way, man. It was before we did this podcast, we started. So for you guys, a little backstory. We started this. We have no idea what we're doing still, but we really had no idea when we started. We started this when we all got sent home for COVID, you know. So we were thinking, we're bored and we don't know what the hell to do, and we're sitting around just twiddling our thumbs. And we said, man, I don't know if this will ever make any money, but I feel like we have to do something because I'm lazy, and my first vodka drink started getting earlier and earlier every day. And so we started this, and we thought, man, if we can get some of our buddies on, that'd be cool. And it's been a lot of fun. So that's what the hell we're doing. But, yeah, when we started, man, we couldn't do anything but check our emails. So now we can actually use GarageBand to record this. We can videotape it and get it sent to the appropriate place. But
I know how to record Zoom. So we
Well, it definitely looks like you know what you're doing, but one side note, and one thing you could probably improve on is you still have JR on here. So, you know, it's not that's definitely something you can work on.
Well, now you got since you guys got your album done, y'all got some free time. Y'all can just co-host the podcast. Y'all can give the Auburn perspective and counter to my Alabama perspective.
Hey, I forgot we're playing the Hogs tonight, son.
Yeah, big game, man. You guys, I've said for golly, a month now or more that you guys to me look to be the best team in the country, and I don't know that it's close. I know there's a few other really good teams. You know,
I see what you're doing right now.
JR, have I not said this?
True story. Yeah, true story. Right when y'all started on the come-ups and we started backsliding, we're like, damn, Auburn's starting to look good. And we're like, oh, my God. Then y'all just embarrassed a few people. We're like, oh, my God, they're legit.
Yeah, but ever since we've been number one, it's like we can't – road games are like – it's like we went to Georgia last week, and then we were at Missouri, and it was like
squeaked by.
I'm like, good God, my dad's like, I mean, my dad's a diehard Auburn basketball fan, and now that since like I used to like I enjoy it, but now it's like I'm locked in. Like I haven't missed a game this whole season, and it's one of those things where my dad will call me like at halftime, and then like after the game.
Yeah,
and like
about
after
game.
like the Oklahoma game we played when we did the Big 12 this SEC matchup.
Yeah.
My dad called me. He's like, golly, he's like, we look so sloppy. I was like, Dad, we won like by 19 points. You're starting to sound like a Bama fan. Like it's just like I'm not used to being number one, and I kind of don't like it. Like it's like every week I'm like, dude, like now I care even that much more
on the chopping block every week. You know?
That's what happens when
world.
you get good at a sport. Like I think you guys are a little younger than me, but when I was growing up, Arkansas would be okay in football, but 6, 8, 9 wins, something like that. Really never competed for a championship, but we were really, really good in basketball for like my entire life until the last, 7, 8 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, what in the hell is wrong? And so we finally got a coach in there now who's recruiting well and doing well for us. But my point is, we won the national championship in '94. I was a kid, but remember it and following it. And then when we fell off, you just expect it every year, and to your point, every game, and if you look sloppy, you still win by 22. You're still disgusted. You're like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, no, it's like if it's not a double-digit game, you're like, dude, this is ridiculous.
We suck, man.
Yeah,
it's like, what's going on?
When used to, you'd probably just be happy making the tournament or whatever,
100%.
Yeah.
And I'd honestly prefer Auburn. I hate going in like a number 1 or 2 seed. I'd rather them go like a 5 or 6 because it's rarely the truth that like a number 1 like really wins.
Right.
It's like it's one of those things. So I'm just like, I don't know. We'll see how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll just relish in it because right now, like we've kind of got accustomed to Auburn. I mean, honestly, growing up, besides like the Cam Newton year and like 04 Auburn where we went undefeated and didn't go to the Natty. I think that was the Reggie Bush, Vince Young year. Maybe I want to say
that was with Cadillac Williams and
Ronnie Brown. I mean, that's
Ronnie Brown.
arguably, I'm biased, but I think that's the best college football team to ever play. But
I'm
biased and we'll never know. But they had so many weapons. But it's one of those things. Besides that, I mean, realistically, Auburn, like the fan base is okay. It's been okay with like an 8-9 win season. Like Tommy Tuberville, he did that for God knows what 12 years I want to say, and it's just like, hey, we won 8 games. We're gonna beat Bama every now and then, or beat Georgia, upset somebody. And then we're going to lose a game we like had no business losing. And that's just Auburn fans. And you probably understand that being a Hog football fan. But y'all had some good squads, though.
Yeah.
I remember I went to the when Cam Newton was there, I went to the Auburn-Arkansas game.
That was a great game. That was a great
and
game.
It was
like
one
of the highest scoring games in SEC history.
Yeah, that was a battle. Ryan Mallett was a dog. And then y'all had what? Not Phelan Jones. No, what's his name?
No, we had Niall Davis as running back, but we had our receivers were the big time players. Well, the quarterback and the receivers. It was Joe Adams and 2 or 3 guys who played in the league for a while. So, and we could pass it all over the yard. But it was a really good game. But I know exactly where you're coming from as a Razorback fan. To your point, we're like, we're good with 8-9 wins, and then but we really hang our hat on basketball, or kind of always have, and since we've been down,
baseball too. Y'all got
baseball,
baseball.
Yeah, and so, but anyway, it's good to have some more SEC brethren on.
Absolutely,
no doubt.
We had
appreciate you taking the time, man.
Dude, I'm glad you guys take the time. I know you guys been busy. I've been wanting to get you guys on for a while. We're just waiting on the right opportunity. And, man, what a better time. This new album, Dispatch on 16th, is absolutely phenomenal. I was just texting your manager earlier because I listened to it all the way through on my way drive back from Florida yesterday and then again this morning a few times. And I mean, y'all, that's just my brand of country. I absolutely love it. It's, every track front to back. I mean, what a great record. I'm highly encourage everybody to go out and get it. And Adam said y'all are actually in the studio now working on new stuff. It looks like y'all are at your mama's house with your painting and your couch, but
we're at the studio we cut at in Hermitage. It's called the Amber Sound, and Ryan, the guy that owns it, it's got like a real vintage vibe in here. So that's why it looks like your mama's house.
Yeah.
It does.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
This couch is like from the 40s or something.
You have to sit up because you sink in this couch.
Yeah, exactly.
Got the one picture. It's been there forever.
Yeah, 100%. But no, it's a cool place. We've been working with Ryan for God knows 6 years now. We kind of like. I met Ryan actually on the road. I don't know if y'all know who Ray Fulcher is, but I went out and did. When I first moved to town, I went out on the road with Ray, I had a camera and I was just trying to hustle. This was before Charlie and I were in a group together a few months before he moved up here. And I was like, well, I need some money. I'll go take some pictures of these guys. Ryan was subbing in on bass. And then he's like, yeah, actually, we got to hanging. He's like, actually, am doing an internship over at, this studio in East Nashville right now. You ought to, if y'all ever want to do something. And that was the only person I knew. So once Charlie and I got together, we were like, well, let's go to Ryan's.
Cheap. Let's go cut.
And we did 3 songs with him, and then ended up going through the whole, got the publishing deal. We're at Creative Nation, had, Luke Laird producing records and that sort of thing. And here we are 6 years later.
Luke was producing you guys at the time?
Yeah, we did 2 EPs with Luke when we were at Creative Nation.
Wow. So he's not still producing you though.
No. Okay, no. We just do it ourselves.
That's what I figured. Yeah, that's what I thought. So, but I knew Luke. Luke was one of the earlier guys I met. He and his wife. His wife at the time when I moved to town, she was at. I believe she was at BMI at the time.
She was.
And
they're good folks, man.
Like 02, 03. They're really, really good people, and obviously Luke's incredibly talented, and obviously, I mean his success has noted that or made.
I think he was actually one of the first people that told us that you were kind of a dog on the basketball court, dude.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Dead ass. He was like, dude, Justin Moore's balls, dude. Don't even sleep on that guy.
Dude, it's funny. Yeah, I remember him saying, he's like, yeah, dude, he's like he's a grinder out there on the court. But I remember one time we were on tour with Kip Moore, and I was like, yeah, dude, because he played basketball in college, and I was like, yeah, dude, I've heard Justin Moore is good at basketball, and he's like, Justin Moore don't want none of this.
Kip,
that's
Kip
funny.
played
That's
golf
funny.
in college or something. He didn't play no basketball.
And
I tell you, you go back and tell Kip don't want none of this. I promise you.
Yeah, but we were like, his Kip's a pretty he's serious.
Oh yeah, and in shape too. If we played the best of 7, he's definitely gonna get me. That one I'll get him, but after that I'm out.
I just remember that for some reason when we brought that up.
He was like, man, Justin can't shoot.
Yeah, he was like, he don't want none, dead serious. And I was like, oh, okay, all right.
I
was just trying to have a conversation with you, buddy, but all right.
It's so funny. Back in the day, I'd see Kip coming through the airport by himself somewhere, and I wouldn't know it was him. And I was like, God, look at this freaking bum.
Mountain
because
man.
it's a guy with a backpack on, with his shoes hanging off and his snorkel. I mean, just sun bleached. I'm like,
he's a
Lone
Ranger, son.
Yeah, I'm like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to Nicaragua to live in the woods for a week or something.
Yeah.
I remember we did an acoustic. It was an acoustic tour they did, and they were nice enough to let us just ride the bus and hang, and saved us some money. And anyways, I remember we got to LAX, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we were all getting dropped off, and he was like, hey, I'm just gonna figure it out. And he just hopped off the bus and walked off into the distance with his guitar and a knapsack. And then
I'll see y'all next week.
Adam, his tour manager, who's now our manager, his tour manager at the time, I was like, that's normal. He goes, this is normal for him. He's just gonna catch us when we come back. He'll meet us wherever we tour. I was like, he's a nomad.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat, man. We became really great friends. I don't know, man. It's probably been 12, 15 years ago now. And not only because we share a last name, but he literally is like my brother from another mother. But we could not be more opposite in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, we're similar, competitive and all that. But I love the guy so much, and we probably talk shit to each other more than any other artist friend of mine, and probably his. So that does not surprise me in the least bit that he had that way of putting it. Yeah, but Luke, I think Luke and myself had played out on the road when he had come out to ride or something like that. Luke can play too, so
yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of guys. I've mentioned that on here before because I've seen videos. We all see Riley dunking and, these people wanting to play and this and that.
If I was 6'5" and I couldn't dunk, I'd be ashamed of myself.
Right. Riley can play every sport. It don't matter what it is.
That's what I used to scream at when I was on the road with Party all the time. How are you so big and you can't be better at basketball?
Yeah.
But he didn't grow up playing. He was a cowboy. He don't know
worst athletic ability I've ever seen in my life is John Party. Never seen any worse.
Shoot something, ride something. but give him a bat ball. That's just not his thing. I mean, that's how that's how Justin and I met, guys. We met on the road. I was Party's tour manager, and we were out on Justin's tour. And like one of the first stops, somebody got the gym open for us. So 5-on-5 basketball. Here it comes. Right. Our squad against them. I had zero help. Justin can play, and at the time he had two other guys who could play. Yeah, pretty good Kentucky guys. Everybody from Kentucky can shoot a little bit. So yeah. So I was like, I'm point guard. I'm the second tallest guy on the team, but I'm like, I got to do everything. So I come down, lace one up, and then it was on, but it was no help. I'm like, John, just back down, go towards the goal. You're huge.
Just stand under the rim.
Yeah, JR takes it from one end to the other. He gets about 3 steps across half court, pulls up from the top of the key, nails it. And I looked at him, and it was like the Jordan thing. He goes, and I was like, did we just become best friends? Like we both respected each other a little more because we could both hoop.
Yes. Do you love Bo Cephas? Yes. We best friends? Yes. Let's go drink and drunk.
You got a big belt buckle too. Yeah. So,
but I've made that announcement out here too. Don't sleep on us old guys just because we don't post videos and stuff. You ain't just gonna come over here and just whoop JR and JM. That just ain't gonna happen. None of those young guys.
Y'all would whip me. I promise you that.
We got it.
Not you guys. I'm just saying. I used that as a PSA blanket a couple months ago or a couple seasons ago. Now it seemed like, but it goes back to I was telling. This same thing to a friend of mine. I went and played golf, or went and drove the golf cart while he played while I was down in Orlando. We played a show in Orlando this past Saturday, our first show of the year. And I was telling him similar. I told him that story, and I said, man, you got to make a first impression. I told him that's why I didn't want to play golf lately. I hadn't played in like 12 years. I played at Lake Martin like 4th of July 2005 and got pissed off and threw one of my clubs in the water and haven't played since. But I told him, I said, when I do go back to play, that first one's important. I mean, I don't care if I don't do well, but I got to get up there and look like I know what I'm doing and rip that first one and just to set the tone. It was the same thing playing ball that day. I didn't know how it was going to shake out, but I said, I'm coming down this first one, and then if I don't score again, they're not going to remember anything but that first one. So leave them with an impression.
So you guys both played baseball?
Yeah, we both did growing up.
Baseball is my favorite sport. I was a catcher. What position did you guys play?
I played third. I mean, when you're growing up, you kind of just play everywhere. But in high school and JV and stuff, I was always at third.
Yeah, I played second. My brother played in college. I got a brother who's 2 years older than me, and he was always like the ball player. He was the athlete. Like I just like my kind of like thing in high school is like, man, as long as I'm good enough to make the team, that's me. But my brother was like baseball only. Like honestly, it's baseball and football for me. But I played second. My brother played short.
Nice. Yeah, I love baseball. It's my favorite sport by far.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was like that. I was just glad to make the team. I was like our 4th string first baseman from 8th grade on, but I was on varsity from 8th grade on. But I wasn't any guy. I was basketball and football where I was from.
Tell them what you did when you were playing baseball.
I was basically like player coach from like 10th grade on. Like I would go travel with the B team. I was there for, I was just like the coach. I didn't run polls.
So
I was the
pole.
I'd make them run polls and stuff. And back then, I was like the chairman of like all the rituals. Like, I had to spit dip on the freshmen's shoes and rub them, whatever the little rituals we had and stuff. Because we could dip, and right before I got there, you could still smoke. I ain't that old, but I mean, I'm from Elmore County. I grew up on Lake Martin. I went to Elmore County High School back in the 90s.
We know where Elmore County is.
So are y'all both from Alabama then to be Auburn fans?
Yeah, we're both from Mobile.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because I know some people may or may not, but everybody's going to soon. Because I've only called my shot twice since I've been in this business with 2 guarantees, and that's been Party and Riley, and both of them's working out. And I'm guaranteeing right now these boys are going to make it. So everybody, listen up, because you're going to know this one day, or whether you want to know this story or not. So, but you guys are both from Mobile, didn't go to Nashville together, relative the same age. You want to tell that little quick? Did you go to high school or just kind of meet? How'd all that work out?
Yeah, so, I mean, like you said, we're both from Mobile. We were born probably 6-7 months apart, and we went to different high schools, and we didn't meet until I went off to Auburn, and Gary was at Southern Miss. And I was playing cover songs in the bar and doing that and kind of figuring out, like, okay, this is kind of something that's way more fun than cutting grass in school. So I was kind of getting into the music thing, playing songs, and I'd found a little band to play with, and we went down to Mobile, and we would play like the only gig we'd make money at is that one, and it was like we'd make a couple $100 or whatever, and we were always looking for openers that had a bunch of friends that they could bring out, you know.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
Gary was
exploit all my friends so he can make some money. Anything.
Exactly. It's
Show
like
business.
It's show business. No, but seriously, I knew that Gary was in the scene or whatever, and we followed each other on Facebook. And during that time, people were just now starting to figure out how to upload covers on Facebook and stuff like that. And that's really how I knew Gary. And so we followed each other along then, and I asked him to come out and play that night. We kind of shook hands and really just kind of developed a little friendship then, and just stayed in touch for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So did y'all move to Nashville together then, or no?
Well, not. It's kind of a weird one. So like, I went to school at Southern Miss, like you said, and I had a band out there too, kind of doing the same thing Charlie was doing, but I was a little later to the ball game than he was. I was just the guy who was writing songs in my room, like that was me. And then Charlie was the one that was gigging really hard. And then my senior year, that's when I really got into like, oh, like, damn, you can make like some pretty good money playing these weddings, fraternity parties, and, you know, whatever, bar gigs. And so I just knew that I wanted to write and wanted to do something in music. So
you knew that from what age? Just after you started writing songs in college, or you played from the time you were young?
I don't know, Justin. It's one of those things. Like I started playing guitar when I was I took lessons when I was 8.
God,
and,
I'm so envious.
It's like you get enough people kind of like you're kind of get on a track where you're like, I'm good at this, and people tell me I'm good at this, whether it's like singing and playing a recital or whatever you were doing, and you know, it's not just your mom saying you're really good, son.
Yeah,
it's
the
like,
county festival or whatever. Yeah,
right, and that kind of thing. And so it's kind of like, well, dang, like this is what I'm really good at, and this is kind of my identity. Let's chase this. And so from an early age, I knew I wanted to do music. Didn't know what capacity or if I had what it took or anything, but I just knew I'd saved up enough money to like pack up my little old '97 Chevy, Z71 with a camper shell on it, come up here and live for say a year. And it's like live cheap, eat ramen, do whatever, get by, meet people. And I was like, I'm gonna give it a year, and if it don't work out, I'm gonna go home. But within that kind of period, Charlie and I started playing. We started writing together first. I put out a little solo EP that no one will ever find, and then Charlie did the same thing that no one will ever find now either.
Thank God.
But it's one of those. We just started writing, and then we were both doing the acoustic bar thing. We're like, damn, like this is a whole lot more fun when you got a traveling companion doing this. So I had a few gigs. He had some gigs. We merged them together. And then we that was in my senior year of college. And then I was like, hey, man, I'm moving to Nashville, like, as soon as I graduate. I think you should come. And he kind of drug his feet for probably about 3 or 4 months. And then we shared a room in the house I was renting in. He had an air mattress. And for a couple months, like, we were just, I had enough space on the floor where he could
barely walk through.
Yeah.
And we did that. And then we kind of like, still not knowing what we were doing, just kind of figuring some things out.
I know the feeling, brother.
Yeah, and we went in and actually recorded with this guy, Ryan, we're with today. We went and recorded 3 songs, and we didn't have a band name, nothing. Like, we were just like, all right, let's just go do this. And one of those songs happened to be Porch Swing Angel, and, like, that was that's literally, like, the backbone of our career right now. And it's kind of like, okay, let's do this. And then it was a kind of the transition, and once again, of not just friends and family showing up to see you play. It's like, oh wow, like here's perfect strangers I've never met in my life. They're coming to see me play because they resonate with this song.
Yeah, that was the first time, in our career where we were like, all right, something's a lot different about this release. Like this is, for some weird reason, this is reaching people that ain't just in Mobile.
Right,
that was
right.
a good feeling.
Yeah.
Right. So Chuck, I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say, same to you. Did you know early on, or was it later on? And like for example, for me, I was 17, I think, before I started playing music. And when I say playing music, my uncle was always in a Southern rock band. It still is, but and so I would just jump up and do stuff with them. They'd be playing the county festival or fair, or Moose Lodge or VFW or whatever. Somebody wanted to throw a party at the lake and they paid a little bit, and so I was like, man, this is pretty fun. And so my dad actually was the one when I was about getting ready to graduate high school. That I'm getting ready to go to college and do all this, and he's like, you ever thought about playing music for a living? And I said, I didn't know you could do that, because I grew up in a town of 300 people. I don't know if you guys know that or not, and that just doesn't happen to people here, Right. And I think everybody has a little bit of that in them as an artist before they do it, unless there was somebody in your town or area that made it before you. But I was like, yeah, I'd rather do that than go to school. And so, long story short, went to school for a couple of weeks, ended up moving to Nashville. Like you said, Gary, had no clue what I was doing, what I was trying to do. It just was literally meeting people and finding out, oh, okay, then maybe I can meet this guy and he can introduce me to that guy and whatever. I was writing terrible songs at the time. I mean, god-awful.
Yeah, same here.
And so, but I didn't know till later on, I guess, is my point. And so I'm just curious to know, Chuck, about you, since we heard, from Gary. And then in addition to that, for both of you guys, after you finished, I thought it was incredible that my parents supported me like they did 100% and didn't go, no, take your ass back to school. And so I'd be curious to know if your folks were the same or different.
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, I'll start off and just say, I've kind of always been a singer. I knew from a young age that I could sing. I could always sing along correctly to songs in the car and stuff like that. And my parents were always like, you're a pretty good singer, and I sang in choir. My dad was always in choir. And my
so
mom
let me
sang in
interrupt
choir.
you for a second. I'm sorry. I just want to, if I don't say these things because I'm older than you guys, I'll forget them. Did you, when you say you knew you could sing, was it because I had the experience of, I knew I could sound like the people on the radio. Was it something similar for you? And then people would always look at me and go, how did you do that? And I'm like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it was unique to people around here to be able to sing on key or something.
Right. Yeah, there's kind of two experiences that I can relate that to. It's like, one, like following along to like Rascal Flatts early records in the car with my mom. Like, I could sing along with them. Yeah, like I had a high pitched voice, and I was singing along like these high tenor notes and all this stuff, and mom was like, dang, like that's cool. And then also being in choir, you could hear the guy next to you or across the way that couldn't hold a damn tune in a bucket. And you're thinking to yourself, what is this idiot doing? Like, what is he doing over there? Like, we're singing on the key over here. Why is he not getting that?
Yeah.
And a couple years after that, I started realizing, like, oh, like, not everybody can do that. Like, not everybody can just hear it and sing along with the radio.
Yeah.
Or, like, click a note on the piano and be like, I can sing that note or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like you said, I didn't really know. I had no idea I wanted to do it into music. But the first time, I remember the first performance I ever had on stage was pretty influential on me, because a guy that I used to go to, or was used to be in high school or whatever, he kind of was a performer and always in music and played guitar. And he knew that I could sing, so we were in choir together. And he was like, hey, man, we got talent shows coming up. Let's sing this song. And I just said, okay. I really didn't want to do it because I was scared shitless, but I said, okay. And the only reason why I did it is because he was like, come on, let's get up. Let's practice. Come on, let's do it.
And he's the older, cooler guy that's doing it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I sang it that day at the talent show or whatever. And it was like Gary said, you kind of get this, people start like, they're like, what? Like, I didn't know you could do that. And like, I instantly became cooler in school and all this stuff. And then you kind of start getting that little bug, you're like, oh shit, like there's something to this. People like this a lot.
And girls like it a lot.
Girls like it a lot.
See, what's funny about that, and I don't know how big the area, I don't know if it was Mobile proper you guys grew up in or if it was just near, but like doing it here in a tiny little town where nobody really did it, the cool thing was playing sports. Like playing music, I was kind of like the weirdo that they're like, oh, okay, you play.
Oh, he's the nerd. He's a nerd.
Yeah, that's cool, I guess, or what. People looked at me like I was strange. I'm like, I don't know, it's fun. I mean, I like it. But... So I didn't get the girl thing or anything, Yeah,
I would agree with that. Though, like most of my buddies and stuff, like they didn't get it, until college or like playing music and singing wasn't cool. Being in choir was not cool.
Right.
Yeah, like the school Charlie went to that of like a more prestigious music program. The one I did, like I had the choir teacher. They're begging me to do it. I was like, I'm not getting up there.
They're
in front
like,
of my
we
friends.
need your help.
I was like, I'm not doing that. My friends
Exactly.
gonna make fun of me.
Exactly.
I was like, let's just go out on the baseball field or the football field or whatever.
Exactly.
So I like picking up the guitar at the party when I'm 16 and people like want me to bring it. Like, hey, when we go to the bonfire, bring your guitar or whatever.
That's the X factor, though. You know, like singing ain't cool unless
you can whip that guitar out. Oh yeah, or get on that piano that's at somebody's house.
And see,
that's like
I couldn't in
I
high
didn't
school.
Have it.
I couldn't do that until later. I couldn't do that until I graduated high school. Sorry, JR.
No. I was gonna say, and see, like where I'm saying, I didn't know anybody like in my age gap when I was in high school. Nobody played. Like I didn't have any friends. Nobody in my class. If they did, same thing. They didn't do it in front of anybody because they were scared to make fun of. I guess there were some older guys I remember were in a band and they were cool, but I never knew till I went to college and then just randomly start having fraternity parties and at the porch in Troy, and then I met Wayne Mills.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, and then when he said, you're pretty sharp on your feet late at night, you ought to be in the music business. And I'm like, yeah, I'm from Eclectic. I might as well be an astronaut. How do you do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. But he's from A-Rap. I'm talking about, if anybody listening, I'm talking about the late, great Wayne Mills. That's where I started my career. But Wayne was from Arab, Alabama. And same thing. He's like Justin. I always say they're a lot alike, different, but a lot alike. But same thing. He didn't know, like he grew up singing with his sisters and in church, but didn't know that was even an option. Went and played baseball, went and played football at Alabama. And then when the football career ended, he's like, all right, got to find a new way to get girls. So got Hal Bruni to show him some Hank Jr. songs, and that's how that all started. But yeah, when you come from, I tell people that all the time, you don't even know you have these dreams until you're older. You don't never stop dreaming because things can change, especially now in modern society with like us on a podcast. You can do this. This was not a thing 10 years ago. I had never thought this was even going to be a thing where I could talk to other entertainers on a video conference. I mean, this didn't exist, so you kind of got to float with it,
And I think that comes from that being young. It's like, man, I didn't look past what we were doing after the football game on Friday night. You have no concept of like, you're forever young. It's like whatever, and then you start getting to like, okay, graduating. It's like the track is like you either go to college or you go to work, and that's like kind of what it is. And so, but kind of going back to you talking about supportive parents, like we fortunately both, like, our parents are super supportive of what we do.
They're gung-ho about it.
And, but
biggest fan.
One of those things, like,
oh, dude.
Yeah.
Insane.
We just did the Opry. I mean, his mom actually got COVID this weekend, so she couldn't come.
Oh,
but, like,
man.
my folks came up to the Opry.
Y'all's debut?
And that sort of thing.
No, we did. We debuted in 2018.
Okay.
But this is our second time back.
Well, okay.
Is your mom okay though, Charlie?
Oh, she's great.
Yeah.
She's kicking and screaming.
Good. But it was one of those things. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say Charlie and I like got up in the mud or was like came up and didn't have like a pot to piss in or anything. But like my dad worked on air conditioners, and like his dad was a old school architect, and his mom's a school teacher, and my mom was a home mom. So it's like we didn't have we had enough growing up. It's one of those things. But my parents were kind of like, hey, if like you want to do music, you just gotta go figure it out. And that's kind of how his parents were. If you want to play music, just go figure it out. Because, like, my parents didn't have the money to be like, hey, like, go up there, we'll fund this. It's like, nah, like, you're grown. Like, you're out of the household. You've left the coop. If you want to go do music, we'll be a fan, supporter. But, like, you're going to have to figure it out. And
that pretty much.
Yeah. I was going to say that's just, like, a good lesson for anybody. It makes you appreciate it way more, once you kind of do that kind of thing. And now they can just come be fans and don't feel like you were ever indebted to your parents about doing something. That
kind of describes, I mean, our basically mine and JR's home lives as well. Middle class, had everything we needed, but maybe not everything we wanted. But parents tried to give you everything you wanted, or mine did. And my parents did help me pay my bills for a while. But I mean, when I say help me pay my bills, I'm talking couple $100 a month, for a while or whatever. And
that's a blessing if you get that. I'm not condoning that or anything like that. I'm just like,
I know.
Like my mom definitely, like, more than Charlie's parents probably. Like I remember I caught the bug bad in middle of college, and I had like this song I wrote kind of when like whatever you want to call semi-viral on Facebook. And I remember calling my mom, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, I'm dropping out of school, moving to Nashville." And she was like, "Not happening. So you need to make sure we get that degree first. And then when you turn to 21 and you have that diploma in your hand, I don't care what you do."
Right.
So,
yeah, that's great. I mean, I wish I had my degree, to be honest with you, but I was a ways from it. I went for 2 weeks, so I was a pretty good ways
but at
from
the end
it.
of the day, it worked out. You know,
thankfully, yeah. But
so
yeah,
you go back. You hit that online. Maybe.
No.
Yeah, I was about 12 hours short, but you know, when it happened, it just happened. I didn't know what I was going to do, and this all just kind of worked out. But my mom and parents, they were just glad I wasn't in jail or asking them for money. Same thing. They were like, "Yeah, ain't nothing. You're grown. What we going to do? Yeah, do whatever. You going to Tuscaloosa? You going to Nashville? Okay, good. You know, let's."
So, how old are you guys? I didn't even ask.
About 29.
Yeah, about 29.
Okay.
Chucky, you about to have a birthday.
Yeah, I'm turning 30 on Friday, so.
Same birthday as
February 11th.
Yeah,
yep.
That's my oldest daughter's birthday. She'll be 12.
Oh, crap. That's awesome, man.
Well, happy early birthday. Happy early birthday, man.
Hey, I'm gonna spin that into something, guys, because I know y'all got so much stuff to do today. But I'm gonna spin these birthdays into something. But hey, I want to say too, while I'm getting this info up, you guys did something like we did, Justin. I know we talked about it, you know, last year and stuff. But these guys had their own podcast, and I'm missing it. I never got my chance to be the Viner of the week, so we got to get this thing going again. That was one of my favorite things. And then I know you guys got busy on the road. I get it.
Oh yeah. I admire you guys for keeping it going, because like during COVID, you know, it was the absolute perfect thing to do. You know? And we had a blast doing it. And when everything started coming back, you know, it felt a lot harder, and we had a lot really more pressing stuff that was actually, you know, making our money, I guess. Yeah. And it just kind of turned into a little more of a hassle than it was fun at the time. But we still got it, you know. Every now and then we might have to bust one out.
Hey,
I think y'all should, just like even if it's every other month or something, just a tour report or something. You come up with something, because you got a great platform, and I know a lot of people, industry and outside the industry, listen. And I encourage anybody to go back and find those. It's called the Grapevine Podcast with these guys, and you can go back and find that on all platforms, because y'all had some cool insight and stuff. And for me, I knew you guys because I've been hearing about you guys through promoter and venue owner friends of mine and other acquaintances I have out from this area when you guys were first on your way up through the ranks. You know, my buddies in Birmingham and Mobile and all these different areas. So I always kept my eye, even when I got to Nashville, I always kept my eye on back home, because I was always waiting on the next Alabama, you know, crop to come through and raise some hell. And so I always kept up with you guys, but I was on the, you know, if you're not touring together, you don't see each other often. So I never really got to meet you guys or hang out. And, you know, I popped in a show or two back in it's been 6-7 years ago now, here and there, but never didn't know anybody that knew you guys, so we didn't really have that contact. So me listening to the podcast, I felt like I got to know you guys and learned a lot about you. And that goes back to when I said calling the shot. Like, I've been doing this 20 years. I've heard and seen so many talented people come and go from this business, but I'm never going to vouch for anybody unless I know who they are as a character too, because that could stop the whole train right there if you're a shitty person. And I don't care how good you are, I'm not going to vouch for you. But knowing you guys now, that's why I have no problems putting y'all right on that list, because I knew John, I knew Riley. I didn't know Justin before then, but he'd have been on the list if we moved to town about the same time. But we always talk about we were coming in and out of the same bars, but we never knew each other.
Yeah.
But knowing you guys, that further stamps that in there that it got everything that should be able to take to make it, because I know you guys are good dudes and solid, good old guys. Like this new record, like I said, if you just go through and listen to that, knowing who you are, it's you can tell it's genuine. You know what I mean?
Well, to his point,
thanks for saying that, JR.
To his point, or points rather. Let me put your minds at ease. Continuing to do this podcast we've done now for, I guess, 2.5 years, something like that. You still don't make money. By the way. But I will say, for me, I'm not really good at social media, just simply because I'm about to be 38, and so it really didn't exist when I was at the age where I would have, loved it.
Yeah.
And so when I moved to town in 2002, I don't even think MySpace was a thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think that came along by the time I signed my record deal, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong. But so for me, this is just another way of allowing reaching people. And like JR said, man, people want to know, obviously, what you sound like and what you look like and all that, but they really want to know who you are as a person. And I would attribute our career to that primarily, people knowing that. And so, I would certainly tune in if you guys did it, even like he said, once a month or whatever.
Yeah.
I like you need more added to your plates, I'm sure, but
Yeah, right.
but I do think all of it helps, for sure.
We talked about birthdays, and both these guys were born in '92. Alabama won a national championship. If y'all want to remember back then.
Yeah, rub salt.
I was
two
12.
Auburn boys were born into that.
Yeah, I was 12, and buddy, that's the highlight. I mean,
right.
I remember every play. I was 12. That was all. That was life. Life was that season. Anyway, and that was the first year of the SEC expanding. Arkansas came in with the first year we had the SEC championship.
I was about to be 9. Yeah,
we got Florida's fun and gun down there. I mean, what a game! George Teague, love you, brother.
That was Alabama's last national championship till Saban, right?
Right. That's why I tell people. I know Alabama's been great for a lot of young, but I remember the Mike years, the Mike Price, Mike DuBose. I remember. So
when we were growing up, we were pounding y'all.
Yeah,
so that was we grew up beating Bama. You know what I'm saying? Like
I know.
Every Bama was sitting there wishing for the glory days to come back.
Yeah,
back. So,
yes. My little brother graduated high school with Ben Grubbs, who was a guard for Auburn and went on to play pro for a long time. Well, Ben played there 5 years and never lost to Bama, and I'm like,
right.
Yeah. And Arkansas, same time. This is when they had McFadden and Jones and them. And I remember them not even having a quarterback one year and just running up, snapping it to the running back and beat us that way one year.
So created the Wildcat,
Yeah. So I remember I've been through some down years too. That's why I never talk trash. I'm just glad to be here. If somebody wants to talk it, I got the information to shut it down.
Hey, listen, I'm a diehard Auburn fan, but like when we go to Fayetteville, whatever, dude, I'll say Pig Sue. I'll say Cody all the time. I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, we're not really. Like, we've not been a threat in a while, so it's pretty harmless for you guys to do that.
Fayetteville's a great place.
Actually,
it's a fun town. Have y'all played? I guess y'all played George's.
Oh yeah. And the
JBGBs.
Yeah, that's a cool one. I remember one time we were on tour with Whiskey Myers, and it was Game 7 of when y'all were in the whatever.
World
Is this
Series.
2018?
Yeah, the World Series. Yes. And
the drop foul ball.
Yep.
Oh.
And we were like, man, this show tonight is going to either be awesome or awful.
I'll never forget that.
Yeah. And they ended up losing. And we're like, well,
you had to bring it up
here tonight. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, and you guys will know this because. What was it Gus's first year against Florida State when y'all had the game won, the football game?
Lost,
it was just like that. I'm telling you, the foul ball goes up, and I stood up. It was me and my dad and my mom and my wife, and at the time,
you're like, that's it.
I literally stood up and I go, we just won and he dropped it, and I go, oh my gosh. We just lost that was game 2 of a 3-game series, and we were up a game, and I knew at that moment, we still had the lead at that point, and only had to get one strike to win it all. And I knew when they dropped that foul ball, I knew, I was like, they're going to come back, win this game, and beat us tomorrow. I know it, and that's exactly what happened. And we've never won as good as we've been in baseball, we've been back to the World Series. I don't know how many times, and
yeah, y'all got a squad.
We've never won the ring. So it's like, and I'm really good friends with our baseball coach, and I'm just like, I want it for him as bad as I do myself. So I believe it. Life as a Razorback fan, man. That's just the way it goes.
Dude, we feel you, dog. Trust me.
Auburn ain't been good at baseball since like Frank Thomas, and I don't even know if they were that good then. So it's like, we're just so used to just like whatever baseball.
Yeah.
Actually, I caught myself pulling for Mississippi State this year in the SEC, in the World
That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy.
Yeah, I know, man.
Justin is not like you, G. He does not pull for anybody but Arkansas.
Well, we had some hometown boys. Like I grew Tanner Allen or whatever played for them. He went to the church I went to, and when he's from Mobile. And then my dad was roommates in college with Rowdy Jordan's dad.
Oh wow! So, no, they had a squad, man. They were good.
Yeah, they were fun to watch.
And they got hot. They got hot at the right time.
Right time. That's all baseball's about.
That's
man.
baseball.
Right
well,
time.
Speaking of, since you guys love baseball and you're Auburn fans, I don't know if you probably don't need this, but I've got you a great hookup anytime you want to go hang out at the baseball complex, go to games. I've become, over the years, I've become really good friends with Tim Hudson and his wife, and Tim's now the pitching coach there. And matter of fact, first time I met him, I was doing their charity event and played in Auburn's basketball arena for that event, which is a great arena, by the way.
Okay, you're never going to believe this shit. So that night you played that show, a buddy of mine named Blaine Rudd was like playing in town.
Yeah, I know the name.
Yeah, JR knows Blaine. And I was still playing or whatever on the Auburn scene or whatever. And Blaine and I were just buddies. And he was like, dude, I'm opening up for Justin Moore tonight. Like, just come out and play like rhythm for me. And I played rhythm with him.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you? That was a great show.
It was like the biggest show of my life.
It was a lot of fun.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
At the time, the arena, I want to say, had just opened.
It was brand new.
Yeah. Because I remember after the show, I went to Bourbon Street and saw Tony Brook play, and then and ended up bebopping around town. So me and you probably walked in and out of the same bar doors. I
probably bought you a damn tequila shot if I was
probably so. So. It was awesome. Good times. Well, no doubt. Y'all know I'm wearing my Adam Hood. We got to give Adam Hood a shout out. That's a common bond there. We all love some Adam Hood. Yeah. I've turned Justin on to some Hood songs or Hood albums over the years. Man. Unsung hero right there. They'll have a documentary on Hoodie one day. But we do a thing every episode on here where we do the birthday #1 song, where it's the #1 song in country music on the day you were born. That's cool. So for Chucky, we've got 2/11/92. Does anyone want to take a stab at what the #1 song in country music was in February of 1992?
There's no way I could guess.
Moore's gotten pretty good at this.
It usually takes a hint or two, but
all right. He's
male or female?
Male.
Okay.
Great voice. From Georgia.
Travis Tritt.
Nope.
That's a good guess.
Good guess.
Alan Jackson.
No, he's more known for just his singing than probably his big show and all that. I mean, hell of a singer. Got some damn just stone cold country.
Joe Diffie.
No.
Mark Chestnut. Mark Chestnut's from Texas.
From Georgia.
Yeah,
trying to think who else.
Killer voice.
This song's not his biggest song. We were talking about it
how many hits did he have? Did he have a bunch of hits?
Yeah, how many hits did he have?
Oh, he had some hits, brothers. He had some hits. Yeah, y'all are when y'all figure this one out. Okay, let me skip this down. Yes, sir. No, name the song.
I was about to say that. Pine Box is one of my favorite songs.
That's the I was going.
In a different light.
Discover that.
In a different light.
Good tribe. Nope, it was a jukebox
Swinging
with a country
doors.
song.
Oh, yeah.
That's
a good
box with a country
cool,
song.
That's a cool fact.
Hey, that's a damn good one, man. That you got.
Yeah. No doubt. Justin's.
Some of the folks have had some duds, so that's a good one.
Last week we had on David Basil, who's a former Razorback legend that does the morning sports show with Justin there in Little Rock, and his was a guy I've never heard of, guys. I don't even have it written down, but it was someone I've never heard of in country music, and that does not happen. It was from like the late 50s, maybe early 60s, but I never get stumped. But this was like never even heard of this person. But so that was a good one. Justin's is 330-84, and his is Roll on 18 Wheeler by Alabama.
There you go.
And I'm a
That's a good one.
I'm a 9/11/79 is and mine is I may never get to heaven, Conway Twitty. So it's kind of funny. We swapped. He's got an Alabama guy doing a band doing his, and I got an Arkansas guy doing mine.
All right, well, you got to look up Gary. August 6, 92.
So I
August 6.
I saved G's the best for
Mine's
last.
probably
And
gonna
this,
be like the lamest thing. The lamest. It's gonna
You
be
might
Billy
have
Ray.
the-
It's gonna be
you might have the
Achy
best
Achy
one
breaky
yet.
heart, yeah.
no, I think somebody already had that. We've had some good ones on here too, but this might be the best one yet, considering who it is and what it is. All right, so this is August 6, 1992, the #1 song in country music. Who wants to take a stab? I'll go ahead and give y'all a guess.
Yeah,
Us having a duo on this podcast today is only fitting. that-
Brooks and Dunn. So it's Brooks and Dunn.
Yes, sir.
Ooh,
Brand new man.
early Brooks and. Okay, well, I'm trying to think of when.
Neon Moon.
That's pretty early Brooks and Dunn.
That's actually kind of hard too because they had so many hits.
That's
Oh,
really
yeah.
that's early,
Early.
Brooks and Dunn,
Early.
92.
That's early.
They probably
I mean,
came out in 90,
signature
91,
song.
92.
I mean, signature song.
Boot Scoot and Boogie.
Boot Scoot Boogie.
That's a
I
damn
mean,
good one.
That's a good one.
And how funny
Hey,
is that? Earlier last night, me and Justin were talking, and I had mentioned, I said, it's a shame this year there's not a new country duo or group to vote for on the ACMs or the CMAs, whichever one I just voted for, because there weren't enough participants to have a category. And I said, well, they could have just gave it to these guys because that's who should have been in that. And I said, I named off a few groups that have and duos that have came in recent. I said we need less of that and more Brooks and Dunn. And ironically, you guys, it's all coming together. I like it, but I think that's only fitting.
We were members of the ACM CMAs for a few years or whatever, and I was like, when we started seeing it, when we saw the Bellamy brothers on there one year, and I was like, all right, they ain't gonna give us a chance. It's fine.
I know the feeling.
Nothing against the Bellamy brothers. I'm just saying.
No, they're badass.
Hey,
Brooks and Dunn still wins it. There ain't nobody else. There's still nobody.
I actually remember when you got nominated New Artist of the Year. I remember the juxtaposition of that because I remember being from Alabama, like Southeast, like, dude, there was no way. Like, I was like, he's up for New Artist of the Year.
Yeah.
Like, and
it was ridiculous.
He ain't new, but I remember your acceptance speech. I remember something like that. I was like, you're like, I don't really think I'm a new artist, but thanks or something like that.
Well, like, you're exactly right, Gary. The irony in that, and I caught backlash for it. And I'm like, well, hell, you should have nominated me for it 7 years ago. So my first single came out in late 2007, and I won that award in 2014.
Right, and you're like, I'm not a new artist. Like,
and so, and our first hit was early 2009, I believe.
Small Town
USA. So it was ridiculous to me as well. And we had, at the time, records still sold. We still sold CDs. And
I wish we'd have had them days.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot of them.
We streamed the shit for free.
Yeah, I didn't get a whole lot of those, but they still did for probably the first half of my career to this point.
Yeah.
And so, and you guys will never live in this world, but JR remembers that it was all about how many did you sell the first week. And I remember
can you break 100K on the first week or 120K, whatever it was you wanted to hit for that first
My second
week.
album, the huge number for, artists in our arena at that point were if you could hit 100. And we hit 100 the first week of my second album. And I remember it was just a huge deal, and that's all anybody cared about. And then that was my second album. Fast forward to like my fourth or fifth album, nobody cared. Nobody's talking about it. It don't matter no more. That nobody thinks about it. It's just crazy. But
it went from over 100 to 80 to like 40 something over the couple of records I worked with you, and they were still #1 in the country records. But that's just
just shows the decline in sales.
That's how it was going, and then it's no more
as a business model. But so that kind of leads me to another question. I know we got to get you guys out of here, but I'm curious, just because you brought it up, Charlie, when you're talking about the ACMs and stuff. So to add on to the end of my statement in the beginning of this question, just so you guys are aware, you're exactly right. All that stuff is so weird the way it's done. And so I was on in 2014, played, won an award. We've continued, fortunately, to have hits since then. kind of without a lull, if you will. And I've never been asked to be back on the award show. So people always ask me, why aren't you on the awards? I haven't been asked. Haven't been nominated, haven't been asked, and so
people don't get that, People like the people that are asking. Usually, it's like my mom is just so offended that we're not, and I'm just like, it's not. It just ain't how it works.
I lost a lot of sleep for a lot of times over that kind of stuff, and then I got to a point. I go, you know what? I'm gonna control what I can control, and at the end of the day, I get to go play music for a living, and it's a blast.
Said that this morning.
And so. But I guess my question.
It's usually a work day too.
Yeah, that's true.
And you don't get paid to go do those shows, and we usually go do a show, and it's like, well, we gotta go spend. We gotta fly. They don't pay for us to fly to Vegas, wherever, and all that. It's like that's a show.
So this question kind of ties into that, and I think I know the answer, but I want you guys to say it just so our listeners hear it. But I've in complete transparency, I haven't been able to listen to the whole record yet, just because I'm an idiot, and I took a morning radio job daily, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'm getting up at 4 every morning to do this show. I'm an idiot. I'm glutton for punishment. So I haven't had much free time lately between that and coaching my daughters in basketball, but all three of them. But
oh gosh, you do have to do this.
Never a dull moment. But in this podcast, but. What I have heard of not only this album but previous stuff of y'all's and seeing y'all live and I think I know the answer, but it's just super real. Real would be the word I would use to describe it, which I think is to me the highest compliment. It doesn't seem like you guys have ever or are ever chasing anything or any trend or the thought process that you guys have to making music. Have you ever allowed, we got to have this to sell to radio or get played on radio, et cetera? Have you ever allowed that to I guess, seep into the thought process at all? Not that would be a bad thing if you did.
No.
I'm just curious if the mainstream success of it all plays a role in how you go about writing songs, recording songs, et cetera.
I mean, I think to answer it like in a way, I mean, we've never tasted any of that. So it's like we're still making music just to where like we've never, I mean, in transparency, we've never been offered a deal. We never sat down and someone was like, hey, like,
we're super interested in signing y'all.
Right. So it's literally just.
Well, y'all could, I'm sure y'all could get that done if you really wanted to. I mean, there's advantages to not, I guess, too.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, honestly, we got a workflow and this was like, I mean, Charlie always says it in interviews, but it's like, let's just pretend no one ever helps us. How could we do this?
That's always just been the mindset.
And so that's the kind of thing we've done. And then when you do that, it kind of makes you kind of like, well, I got to touch everything. I got to like, I like doing all the stuff. I like the grind. I like, that sort of thing. But it's kind of like, I think it's negligence of just not ever having tasting those things. That's never a factor because we've never had it like this. Off this record is the first time we've ever had a song go to radio, which was Dying for a Living. And honestly, like you might have had a better job, Justin, knowing what you wanted to be, who you wanted to be, what you want to represent. Like, I feel like we were late bloomers to that, Charlie and I, like finding out where our sound is. Cause you go to our discography and it's all over the place. And I mean, it's honest and it's real. And it's, there was a time for it, that sort of thing. But like, until really this record right here, the Dispatch record, is where we really found what our sound is and what we need to do.
Oh, wow.
And what we feel like we need to do. And it took us 6 years, and thank God it's been successful to an extent.
We found a lot of fans along the way.
And
yeah.
I mean, there ain't many places we go, and now 800 or 1,000 people don't show up. It's
all
that's
great. And that's a great indicator and sign, man. And so I guess to further get you to comment on that, you guys have never done that, never had that, etc. In your words, I'm paraphrasing. Is that a goal, or is it just we're going to do what we do and let the chips fall where they may?
No, I think that's more of the mindset, man. It's like we don't necessarily have a goal of signing a big fat record deal. It's like luckily for us, man, we're living the dream every single day, and who knows what opportunities will come down the road. It's like we can't speak for that, but like all we know is what we can control, like you said earlier, and what we can control is making the best music we can and putting it out with our independent team, and that's fun. That gets us going, man. Like it's so much fun to build.
And now
something
you don't
like
even
that.
have to. I mean,
No, you don't.
Y'all
No.
seen it. You don't even have to do all the old traditional stuff.
Yeah.
All that could go away in 3 years, and it'd be like, why'd we even do that? It's gone now.
And for everybody watching and listening, to circle back to my original thought on their music, it being real, it don't get any more real than what they just said, how they answered that question. It's real. They're not worried about the outside noise. So people looking for real music and it's country. I mean, I hate to even put y'all in that little box because I can tell you guys have a lot more influences than just that. But it's really great stuff.
Yeah, I would have said leading up to this, because I've listened to all you guys' stuff, yeah, you definitely had that more indie, Americana type sound, but I believe, like y'all were saying, I think this is it. I was texting Adam that earlier. I think this is the brand. This is it. It sounds pro. It is just stone cold country, well written, well played, both y'all when you sing different parts of different songs, I mean, just sounds great. I like Charlie's got, and it brings me back a little bit of that Isbell touch to it, and that circles it back to the Alabama thing, gives it that indie Americana love, and then obviously the playing stuff. I know you're real creative. I follow you on socials, and you're always posting, you're always coming up with tunes and stuff, and you could just tell all that flows into this, and it's mashed up to the right sound. I mean, it's like, you know, we all love sad old country and real Southern things, and I mean, like that song Southern, for instance, I mean, you know, that just explains so much right there in a song, and that's what the root of country music is storytelling, and that's it to a T. And Down in Alabama, you know, those songs. And I mean,
it's kind of a weird thing because, like, obviously, I mean, we had arguably like the best release weekend of our life because this record just came out, and it's cool because like we did this record like with our band, our toured band, as you played on it.
That's awesome.
And we wrote all the songs, and it's exactly what we want it to be, and that's what people love, and that's great. It's not like we haven't had one person be like, man, it's not Portsmouth Angel, it's not this, it's not this. They're all just like, damn, this is a record, and I just press play, and every song flows together, and it's like the transitions and everything. And so it's like, it's really cool to like know that like this is like we finally said like, no, this is it right here. This is where we're gonna be, and this is what it is, and people love that. And I don't know, it's just kind of like, the more we get older too, Justin, JR, is kind of like, man, like I just enjoy doing what we do. And it's kind of like, I love our process. I love working with Charlie. I love the fact that it's just like, at the end of the day, like how we've created our team, and we've gone through different managers and publishing everything. But it's like, if Charlie loves it and I love it, that's all that matters. I can really give a rip, even if the consumer doesn't even like it. I love it. So
I agree.
It's one of those.
It'll find its place. You know, you gotta love it first, otherwise nobody's gonna love it.
And like it's one of those things too. It's like we've never really been in the spotlight, and that's okay. Like it's one of those things. It's like like we've even had like different things. Like, man, like what do we do for this like record to chart or whatever? And I'm just kind of like, hey, like let's just put out the best music we can, and if the music's good, people will come. It just takes time, and that's just how we work. And it's great too because it's kind of controllable growth. But going back to like a business, business structure, like I don't know, JR, you ever been to Priester's Pecan in Evergreen?
Oh yeah.
You ever been to that place on 65?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so like I love pecan pie, right? And everyone loves pecan pie. Mm-hmm. And they got these little mini pecan
unless they're not Americans.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
But it's like them mini pecan pies are great. And that's what we got. We got our own little mini pecan pie that just Charlie and I share, and we don't have this big old pie that everyone's getting a slice off to do it. And it's kind of like, man, like I'm cool with this little pie, and it can get you places. And honestly, at this point, like
you can build a brand if that pie is good,
right? And it's kind of,
and the goal is to provide for your families, and you've done that.
That's it, man. And it's and like we're at a comfortable spot because obviously, like if this is the furthest it grows, I'm content. And so is Charlie, but it's like we're just driven dudes and want to see it grow. Like it's not about the fame and getting the awards, accolades. I just want more people to come to the shows.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all I care about.
Put out music that you can live forever with knowing that's what you wanted to have out there, and you're till it's for 1,000 years from now.
Yeah, so it's kind of like at this point, I don't even think it's like I don't even think about it. Like the what if, like something comes, and it might, like a deal might come out, and that's awesome. But it's kind of like, to this point, everyone we've been to says in town, it's been like, hey, you just can't do it unless you do this. And it's like, why do we say that? There's the preconceived notion that like you can't do this without this. And at this point, it's more of like a principle thing for me to be like, well, you say there's this glass ceiling, but you ain't had some MFers come in here and break that thing.
Right.
So it's like
the biggest acts. The biggest acts right now are the ones that are not the ones that played by the rules. The biggest acts.
Well, some of them. But not really now. The biggest now that do the most tickets and stuff is like Church, who didn't play it the same way they wanted him to, I'm sure, and Luke and Morgan and those guys. I mean, and Stapleton. Stapleton did it his own way.
And, and that's what I think too. Is like, if you look at like the newer crop, let's say like since we've been here, who's the big dogs coming up in the ranks? I would say that's Riley. That's Luke Combs. That's Morgan Wallen. What like separates them from other people is they're not really chasing. They're just doing them. Yeah. Like, and it works, So it's like, that's what people want more than ever, is just authenticity. That's it. And like, everyone, you go down 16th Avenue today and everyone down there writing a song right now is probably writing a hit song. And it's like, it's just a matter of like, if it's authentic or not, and it can be portrayed as that. And that's all I care about. I just want to be authentic, make a little cash. Hey, I know, never hurt nobody, make a little more money.
Yeah.
But it's
get a little better deer lease, all that.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. It's like, dude, I'm so happy with what we get to do, and like, it's cool to say like, nah, like, you've really kind of done this with like no one's help. It's been 6 years, and it takes time, and we kind of like, once we got pulled off the road, we always had the ego things like, man, why is this guy popping right here?
Oh yeah.
It ain't us. Why is this? And it's and then it finally just got to
it's like, human nature. I mean, we all do that.
It's competitiveness, man.
It's that competitiveness you are talking about. But at this point now, it's like, man, let's just run our own race. I don't care what so and so's record's doing. I don't care. It's just like, we're just gonna do Muscadine Bloodline, and that's cool. And like, it's made that mindset has honestly made, I feel like, the writing and the creative aspect better, because there's no chasing anything. We're just chasing the best way to write a song, the best way to put it out, and the best, way to convey what we're trying to say.
Just writing our own story, man.
Yeah, well, and hopefully I didn't misword that question about the goals and the label, because I didn't want to misconstrue that you guys had not been successful, because you've been highly successful.
No, definitely not.
And
it's a common question.
I was just kind of curious as to where your mindsets were at. And
we're also not those guys that paint that flag and stick the middle finger up and say like, man, F the establishment. We don't need any of this stuff. Like, we don't, like, that's not us at all. We just haven't been given those opportunities.
We got plenty to do. Friends that have labels and are perfectly happy where they're at, and that's a way to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, nothing wrong with that.
Like, and Riley, we used to be roommate. Riley used to live with us. Us and Riley were all roommates for about 6 months. And then we got to see that rocket ship, go. And it's like, I mean, I can't say, like, he did the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he's killing it, doing him, and he's putting out music that people love, that I ain't heard a song Riley put out that ain't Riley. And that's just the thing. And that's his race, and he's going to run it, and we're going to run our race, and there's no comparison.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember. That's why I prefaced it with, I think I know how y'all are going to answer this. Which you answered it pretty much exactly like I expected. And that's why, honestly, I have so much respect and admiration for you guys, and I'm a huge fan. I genuinely mean that, or I wouldn't say it. JR knows me well enough to know that. And so, I'm friends with a lot of folks who I don't love what they do musically, but I love them as people. But
I always say I'm not their target audience. But
sure.
But man, like that. But I totally am a fan, and man, anything I could ever do to help you guys, I would be more than thrilled to do, because you guys deserve all that's coming to you. And I agree with JR, man. You guys, as you said, you're content with where you are, but if it grows because the good Lord thinks it should, or the masses that decide that it should. That's the way I am in my career. I've never sold out stadiums like Chesney, and never probably will. And my manager actually asked me recently, he's like, man, we played a place that was, let's say it held, I don't know, 6,000, and there was 3,500 people there. I don't know. I'm just hypothetically. He's like, man, it kills me. Why can't we? I go, man, I'm good. Like, those 3,500 people out there were just digging it. It was awesome.
They
loved it. And so when you get to that point where you are content and happy with what you're doing, and in whatever capacity you're doing it in, I mean, that's a beautiful thing, man. And like we all agreed, at the end of the day, we're all doing the same thing. We all do all the bull crap we got to do so we can walk on stage for an hour and a half or whatever it is at night, and we get paid. And we get paid to do it. It's crazy. I can't believe it. But I would love to be able to go out and tour with you guys and get to know you better.
Hey, you just let us know, man. It's actually funny. We just moved booking agencies, and they kind of asked us, like, who are some people that you'd want to like, tour
who are
with?
some Nashville guys?
Who are some Nashville guys who got radio hits on and that thing? And you were on the short list. I'll tell you that.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate that.
It was one of those things because, like, we've always been a fan of your stuff, man, and like, I love the fact that, like, yeah, you got hits, but it's also too. It's like those hits aren't not you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not like you were ever chasing anything, and like we still bumped Justin Moore.
Justin Moore was that. Justin Moore was the outlier when I was coming up. He was the guy that everybody's like, oh shit, he's the only guy doing this country ass shit.
Well,
like on the radio.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate that. It really does mean a lot. But anything in all sincerity I can ever do for you, please don't hesitate. And we'll make sure that you guys get my information, or we swap info somehow through JR or whatever.
Man. We don't need anything.
And absolutely. Likewise. And
I want to get you guys out on. We need to make a tour happen for sure.
Record some stuff together, maybe. And love to do a tour together. JR and I were talking about that actually yesterday. It'd be fun to go out and play some more shows together. I think we played one was it last year or was it a couple of years ago?
We did a festival, and then I think we've done a couple. I know we did one. That was the first time I had met JR. I think Charlie had met him previously.
Yeah, and I got to watch the whole show, and it was fantastic. It was really was.
I remember
good.
It was hot as piss that day.
Yes.
Yeah,
Justin was like, man, I wish I could play like Gary.
Yeah. No doubt.
Everybody wishes that.
Yeah, right.
Well, I wish I could sing like y'all too. So
whatever.
It's one of those things.
I heard you sing some rock and roll, I think, that day or something.
Yeah.
Some high ranging stuff.
That's where I live, dude. I ain't got the country train. I can't fake it either. So it's like there's a time and place for me to sing, and we got a little bit of that on this record too, which is cool. And so we're just gonna keep doing our thing, man. But we appreciate the time, for real. It means a lot to us. We look up to you, Justin. We appreciate it a whole lot. And,
thanks,
and
man.
JR, thanks for putting this together and letting us come hang out with y'all for a little bit.
Y'all just keep being you. Because I love where y'all's mindset's at, man. Y'all keep that same mindset, and y'all gonna be doing this for a long, long time, as long as you want
Justin, before you go, I gotta ask you one quick favor. It's
okay.
So in college, one of my best friends named JD, he was my roommate for years. We used to ride dirt roads, listening to Flying Out a Back Road. I just want to say, "What's up, JD?" in this, so I can show it to him, and he'll probably freak out.
JD, what's up, my man? We actually, funny thing is, we close our show with that every single night. It wasn't even a single, but that just speaks to the power of social media.
We talked about on here. One of Justin's biggest song every night is "Beta Hook." It died at 16.
Yeah.
You know? Oh man. Yeah, dude. There's so many good songs.
JD, you got to come to a show and hang out, man. Where I don't know where he lives, but wherever he lives.
He lives in Opelika. He lives in Alabama.
Well, let
him do one.
Let us know, and we'll get him out to a show. And hell, he can come up and sing "Flying Down the Back Road" with us. How about that?
I don't know if you don't. I don't think you want that.
Yeah, we've got a show.
He'll come bring you a shot of whiskey. How about that?
I love it, my man.
We got a show actually up that way. I think it's in April in Lafayette, up there somewhere. I don't guess they got
at the Oaks. Yes, we did a show out there this last year. It was cool.
It's cool. Yeah, I know the promoter, but I've never been there.
Yeah, it's big, man. It's a nice place.
It's good. Cool. I mean, I think it's got a big capacity, and I mean that's I mean, I remember actually they had a big old pond out there, and I was catching some crappie and stuff before the show.
Good.
And I remember they had all these people. I mean, it's Alabama. They live a little further, back in the woods, and they kind of like all the trucks pull up, and they're all just tailgating. And I feel like every other truck was jamming some kind of Justin Moore.
And we had to borrow somebody's 4-wheel drive to pull the Sprinter out of that sumbitch. It was muddy.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, tell JD if he wants to come to that show, send me his number or give him my number or something. I'll make sure he gets hooked up. He can come see us there for sure.
Dude,
I'll hook him up. I'm gonna hook him up.
That's awesome. Well, man, thank you guys. I'm gonna let y'all get back to it, guys. Charlie Muncaster, Gary Stanton. That's Muscadine Bloodline. They don't get no better than that. Down in Alabama, the new album's Dispatch to 16th Avenue. Y'all got to go get it. MuscadineBloodline.com. You can get all the info there. Thanks, guys. I love y'all. Safe travels. I'll see y'all soon.
Appreciate y'all.
And y'all let me know if y'all get back down to Mobile. We're not working much until April, really. We've got a few shows here and there, but I'm down here in Gulf Shore, so y'all holler at me if you get down to the coast. Let's go have a beer at the Floribama or something, or Charlie, we'll play some video games since you all the sauce these days.
All right, man, let's do it.
I can play a little 2K too. Watch out now.
Hey, if you're good at basketball, you're probably good at 2K.
Thanks for your time, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you guys. Thanks for having us. Y'all
talk
be good,
soon,
all
guys.
right?
Take care.
All right, fellas.
Bye.
Man, that was great.
Yep. Couldn't have went better, man. I'm glad we got to finally get those guys on. And like I've said a few times already, I can't. I know I had a listener of the podcast reach in needing some new recommendations. That's my recommendation for this week.
There you go.
Is this new album, Dispatch to 16th Avenue by Muscadine Bloodline. I also want to say Joe Nichols has a new record out, and it is really good as well. So once you get done with that Bloodline, go listen and download Joe Nichols' new record. It's really good.
Hey, and people have asked us over the course of time, JR, just while we're on albums and new releases, does it help? Does it help if they stream it, and does it help more or less if they download it? All of the above help, just so you guys are aware. All of the above help, but it helps more if you do download it, I guess, to your phone or device.
Once you click it, then to the download, so it saves.
I have no idea how that helps more, but it helps more. So
right.
I don't know. They view it differently somehow, but all of the above help. But these guys were talking about this latest record being a record that you turn on, listen front to back, and just so you know, every single artist, I mean myself, those guys, everybody, we all put a lot of time and effort into the album or the whole entire record being that. I mean, for instance, like I'll spend a week on the sequence, like which song's first, second, third, all the way to the end, and everybody else does the same thing because we want you guys to listen to it in that manner. Like it's like you don't want to watch a movie and then skip to the middle and then skip to the very end. We want you to watch it all the way through, or in our case, listen all the way through.
Right.
So.
Yeah, for sure. And while we're talking about clicking and liking and all that good stuff, I want to make sure everybody goes and click, like, rate, subscribe this podcast anywhere you can. If you watch it on YouTube, go ahead and do that. You can check out the Instagram page, Justin Moore Podcast on Instagram. I'm JR the Handler on Instagram and Twitter. That's Justin Cole Moore. Look for the blue check mark by JM. JustinMooreMusic.com has all the info and everything we've talked about as far as our shows and music and merch and all that fun stuff. But definitely need y'all to spread the word on this podcast. Hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. Need to spread the word, keep this thing growing so we can have more listeners on. So I want to encourage everybody to do that and use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast when you're interacting or sending in questions or comments for the show. And I'm compiling that, and I'll have that in a couple of weeks.
And speaking of merch, we're in the process of trying to get some new merch on the road, and I had the thought that we needed a hoodie. Would you guys want a hoodie? Let us know. Or in addition to answering that question, what is it you would like? Long sleeve tee, hoodie, regular t-shirts, tank tops, baseball caps. I know we have a new baseball cap coming out. I think it's got a beta hook insignia thing that we created, which is kind of cool, different for us. Let us know what you would like, because It's quite honestly, it's just me and JR and a guy at our merch company going, oh, I like that, or I think that's cool. So I'd rather hear from y'all. What do you want? What would you like? Obviously, we still have our cowboy hats out there. You can get them anywhere, our website, etc., and at shows. But we're trying to revamp that whole line right now. So let us know. And speaking of merch, a guy that does it probably better than anybody, who'll be out on tour with us beginning in April. I believe April. Is it April or May?
April.
Granger Smith.
Pensacola.
Yeah, Granger will be with us next week on the podcast. We'll catch up with him, talk about the tour. He's also, like me, a complete idiot and took a radio gig after midnight. The difference in his and mine is he doesn't have to wake up at 4 every morning, but he has to do his 365 days a year, which we'll ask him about, which is crazy. And he's on in all over the country. I'm on in one little market, but you can always listen to it on the Buzz app, or if you go just like this podcast, go to where you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, any of the above, and subscribe to the Morning Mayhem podcast. You'll get it just like you do this. Between,
you can download them and save them for when you're on long trips.
Exactly.
Some of that.
So, we'll look forward to catching up with Granger.
Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, and that's a good idea, just sending in suggestions on merch, because we are going to come up with some new stuff for the road and for the website. So yeah, love to hear y'all's suggestions and comments on all that. And thanks everybody for tuning in today. I know Justin's got to get to work on this this vocal track for this Tom Petty tribute album. We'll have some info on that as time goes on and we know more when that's going to be released and stuff, and who all else will be on it. But I want to say thanks again, everybody, for tuning in and tuning out this week here on the Justin Moore podcast. It's fun as always. Glad to catch up with the Muscadine Bloodline guys this week. I want to say again thanks to David Basil for coming on last week and chopping it up with us. And like Justin said, you can go listen to the Morning Mayhem and hear all those guys every morning for 4 hours of pure madness. So I suggest.
Yeah, and you can attest. Yeah, you can attest to the fact, JR, like you can listen to it and be entertained even if you're not a Razorback fan.
Yeah, y'all are just talking about a bunch of mess half the time.
It's barbershop radio.
Right.
I mean, we talk about taking a dump. We talk about, I mean, it ranges from that to, because one of our guys, for example, admitted on the radio the other day that every time he takes a dump, he gets completely naked. And every time he takes a dump, not only does he get completely naked, he has to take a shower every time he takes a dump. So, I mean, that's just one example. And so, yes, there is some Razorback stuff splattered in there.
Yeah.
But there's also NFL talk and national guests and all of the above. But
I love the way, like you were just saying, y'all pick on each other. That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
Just don't mess up and do something wrong and you be the one. It's almost like going to the comedy club. You don't want to sit too close because then you're going to be in on the act at some point.
Yeah, exactly. So, but as JR said, thank you. And at the top of the podcast today, before we had the guys on, I mentioned we would talk about why I was so tired. Well, we ended up doing that before. So, my day yesterday was crazy. My day today is crazy. But I got two things knocked out, that show and this podcast. Now I just got to get a good vocal for this Tom Petty tribute album, and then I get to go see if our my Razorbacks can pull off the upset against the number one team in the country, Muscadine Bloodline's Auburn Tigers. So fingers crossed we can pull off a big win tonight in Bud Walton.
I love those guys, but I'm pulling for the red team tonight. Yeah, I'm going to get out of here. I got to get to advancing some shows. We got some more shows on the books. I got to get to getting some routing and some hotels booked and that kind of stuff, so I'm going to work on that.
I just realized, JR, and this is short notice, but guess who's in town? I believe it's Saturday night. It's Friday or Saturday night here.
Who?
At the arena. Alabama. With who opening?
Jamie?
Nope. Think about it. Arkansas.
Oh. Tracy?
Yes.
Really?
And we're off. I'm
God.
just saying.
I I'm going to tell y'all out there, Justin don't go to many shows that he ain't singing at. So this
Alabama and TL in Little Rock?
Oh, got to.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to make a quick trip up, it's also Ella's birthday Friday. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. I didn't realize. I saw it. I had no idea until I saw a TV commercial like yesterday. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's literally like in a few days.
Wow.
I'm surprised Opie or TL hadn't reached out. But I'm off, so I may have to go up and sing Alibis with him or something.
Yeah, I mean, paint the wall.
But I don't feel like I don't feel like I could do it without you here. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh, buddy, we'll talk about that off air.
I'll buy you and Reese first class tickets.
Oh my gosh,
round trip.
Let me run it by her. I got a lot on the plate this week, but we'll see. I actually saw a couple coming close to me. First week of March, I saw Sammy and Colin are going to be in Mobile at the theater there, and I thought, ooh, that'd be fun to go.
No Aaron?
Yeah. No, it's just them two I saw on the bill.
Okay, let me remind you: Alabama, Tracy Lawrence, Little Rock.
Yeah, I know.
And you get a free trip here and home, and a free stay.
Yeah, I know. Well, and we're coming up there in a few weeks, so I don't know. Let me run it by her. I know she's working. Floribama's got some event Saturday. She's working, and I had thought about going maybe back down to Tampa, but we'll see. So, but let's wrap this thing up so you can go sing this track. We don't keep anybody waiting any longer. Thank y'all for tuning in to the Justin Moore Podcast this week. Again, use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast when you're interacting on social media or sending in questions and comments. Everything helps. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Later. This episode was brought to you by Bobcat. Check them out at bobcat.com.
For any of you first-time listeners out there, at the end of each of our episodes, I like to do a little reading out of a book I've had that I've got a lot of use out of over the years. The book is by Mr. Charlie Daniels, and the book is called Let's All Make the Day Count, The Everyday Wisdom of Charlie Daniels. Number 37, The Company We Keep. Your eyes light up, your inward being. A pure eye lets sunshine into your soul. A lustful eye shuts out the light and plunges you into darkness. Matthew 6:22. It is said that we are judged by the company we keep. While I do not question the validity of that statement, I think the implications are pretty broad. In business or other purposes, most of us are forced to be around people and groups we certainly have no desire to assimilate into. It's only when you begin to emulate these people, become part of their crowd, and do the things they do that the trouble starts. How many serious drug habits have been started by running with the wrong crowd? Practically 100%. But in so many cases, nobody forces someone to try it the first time. The Bible says that the eye is the light of the body. If that light is darkness, how deep that darkness can be. It took me a long time to understand this passage of Scripture. I comprehend it to mean when we continue to let darkness into our eyes, it has a cumulative effect, and before long, it tries to control us. How many serious pornographic habits begin with leaving certain TV channels on just a little too long until it becomes regular watching? But nobody stops you from changing channels. What we willingly let into our consciousness will eventually determine the course of our lives. Good and evil are both perceived by the same eye. But what we let in and what we shut out is up to us. Guard your eyes, your tongue, and your temper, and everything else will fall into place. Let's all make the day count.